rich guys make me so wet.
Marry rich. It's all that matters. The season finale of Gold Diggers of Liberty City is next week.
Oh, Daddy!
The competition gets stiff on CNT.
Tonight, in a time of unimaginable wealth and poverty, incredible drunkenness, and immigrants gone wild, the city of the future takes a look in the mirror of the past and says, "What the fuck are you looking at?" and then exposes itself in public. Yes, the remarkable story of Liberty City continues in A History of Liberty Part 2, Building Big, Ripping People Off. Major support for this series is brought to you by the Bank of Liberty, who say, "Thanks for the bailout, America. We needed to make yacht payments and to keep our offshore accounts topped up." If you look at the faces that make up the palette of Liberty City today, literally millions of faces, of different hue and tone and hairiness, from all corners of the earth, seething with hate, raging with fear, boiling with anger at the high prices, corrupt police, and strippers with annoying Russian accents, then it can seem like not much has changed in Liberty City in 150 years. Still, they came in hordes to a place that hates you as soon as you arrive, and that attitude is what makes Liberty City the remarkably putrid yet insanely overpriced metropolis it is today. We continue our epic story of A History of Liberty.
My great-great-grandfather, Seamus, left Ireland in 1825 and arrived by boat in Liberty City. He was stunned. He'd heard about this magical place with like gold coins and gay unicorns and a lot of rainbows and like policemen who didn't wear any trousers, but what he actually found was this sweatshop construction job. In those days, things were very different, construction workers actually worked, instead of drinking during lunch and setting up inflatable rats and sexually assaulting strangers.
Nice tits!
You're disgusting.
By 1830, Liberty City was being flooded with Irish immigrants who were told that American girls were easy to get into bed when they heard a foreign accent.
Yeah, it's true. The birds are easy. My family's lived in America for generations, and it's because of my pride and heritage and desperation for some kind of identity that I fake this accent all the time.
Soon the trickle of Irish immigration became a flood. The Irish, who were so busy drinking and chasing rainbows and sleeping with midgets, forgot how to grow potatoes. A famine spread across the land.
How do you mess up growing potatoes, for crying out loud? It's a tuber, for goodness sake. 1/8 of Ireland's population came to Liberty City in about, 15 minutes. Local businessmen loved it. Finally, they had found them a group of people they could pay less than they pay the blacks. It's about competition, a free market.
Just like today, some people looked down on the Irish. Streets at night were full of ruffians. Riots broke out every evening. There were working-class riots against the upper class, anti-Irish riots, anti-black riots, anti-English riots, soccer riots, pacifist riots, girl-on-girl hot riots. Before the invention of television, most people had nothing more interesting to do of an evening than setting fire to their neighbors.
At the same time, you begin to see this incredible migration from the south, migrating just like birds, shitting on everything and making too much noise. People from the south headed up to Liberty City because they'd heard now, hey, there's this place that's even more racist than where we live. And you can go there and hate people from all over the world, freely and openly, like a true American.
The energy of the city would break over you like a fat woman climaxing. A sweaty, heaving mass that cannot be stopped. A disgusting, sticky, and smelly underbelly screaming in your ear, drowning your soul. And afterwards you feel terrible about yourself and promise never to drink again, hoping no one saw the disgusting trollop you left the bar with.
You going out, baby?
To satisfy the carnal desires of the population, the city's first newspapers appeared in the late 1830s. Residents instantly demanded less political coverage, preferring stories of moral degeneracy, crime, sex, muggings, and especially rapes, which were always on page 3.
The Liberty Tree published its first edition in 1835, and every time they would expose how dishonest politicians were robbing people blind, the public would criticize the media for institutional bias.
Anyone who badmouths politicians or big business has an agenda. Idiot liberals, usually drug users and open homosexuals, always unduly concerned about the truth.
Scared of being left out of all the fun, early bankers showed they could destabilize society as well as anyone. In 1857, the markets of the exchange collapsed.
You had huge panic in the financial district as everyone realized a bunch of assholes in suits had duped America with a giant pyramid scheme in which they made out like bandits and everybody else got shit on. The poor got poorer, and there was no Social Security or Medicare to help people.
Yes, sir, those were truly grand times, when we let the weak die in the streets rather than prop them up. It's what America's all about. Every man for himself and steal what you can when no one's looking.
To help the city feel better about itself, one of the largest public works projects in history came to completion. Middle Park.
Oh yeah, it was really remarkable. They took a patch of open land and put a wall around it and spent a lot of public money calling it a park.
The park was another example of unparalleled American ingenuity. Copy something from Europe and pretend you invented it.
The builders of Middle Park hoped that the classes could now mingle and buy drugs from each other. However, African Americans were excluded from the park entirely.
Oh, I don't have that.
What?
Yeah, I didn't say anything.
No, not much. You know, only elegant carriages were allowed. Working-class vehicles like lowriders and hybrids were barred entirely.
The park had a list of rules a mile long. No picnics, blowjobs, walking on the grass, camp exercise, no baseball by schoolboys, and creepy old men were given an entire section where they could roll their balls around. But Broker residents had a problem. Rowing to work across the Humboldt River was abysmal, and rowing home drunk resulted in many naval accidents. Plus, local manic depressives complained there was nothing tall enough to jump off and kill yourself. So construction began on the Broker Bridge. It was a boom for organized crime, who ensured that non-union workers were taken care of, and gave entrepreneurial residents of Liberty City a new place to dump bodies. At the same time, a dark cloud was growing over the fledgling nation.
The rise of Liberty City was a menace to the Southern way of life, focusing on education, arts. Interacting with people of other races was such a threat to the incredible civilization of the South that some states began to consider seceding from the Union. These were true patriots. They loved America so much they wanted to leave it.
Some residents of Liberty City were Southern sympathizers during the Civil War. They liked the idea of drinking a 12-pack of crap beer each night, eating at breakfast buffets, and listening to rock bands that played 2-hour guitar solos.
In 1863, the first draft was announced to bolster Northern troops. The citizens were enraged, drunk and angry, armed with iron bars, ninja swords, survival knives, and Chinese stars. The draft riots began. An emergency message was sent out via telegram. Then, the telegraph lines were cut. The wealthiest nation in the world was in anarchy, and not the good kind of anarchy where you cop a feel in the mosh pit at a punk rock concert. Mobs formed, and to show the South that they had nothing on being two-faced bigots, rioters in Liberty City went and burned down an orphanage full of black children.
People misunderstand. Well, it's a culture of heritage, not hate. You can see that in our Civil War reenactments in the park. We reach out to the black community, but nobody is interested in learning about history by getting the tar whooped out of them and then set on fire and shot. Strange, really, when you think of it.
Yeah, it's strange, all right, huh? Nobody wants to spend a Saturday in the park getting lynched by dorks wearing tunics.
Soon, horrible liberal musicians made protest songs asking America, "Civil War, what is it good for?" And America said, "We don't have TV yet, so it keeps things interesting." The Civil War was the crossroads of our nation, and at that crossroads was a truck stop, a fireworks stand, and a place to buy rebel flag souvenirs, and lighters with naked ladies on them. And one of those machines where you put in a quarter and that claw comes down and tries to pick up a stuffed pig, but it never really does. So you go out to your truck, and a lot lizard is out there, and she says, "I'll blow you for $20. And you let her. Then you kill her and burn the body. That's the American experience in a nutshell.
The reason this war lasted for years was it took so damn long to pack a rifle. You know, we Southerners move slow and methodically. We chat a bit, tell a racist joke, go fishing, pack a rifle, take a nap. And sometime in the afternoon, you know, when you get around to it, you try to find you a Yankee or colored person to shoot. We never had a chance, really. But we'll rise again, I promise you that.
After quite a few years of hard fighting and cheap novels and terrible speeches, the war was over. Everyone could go back to the peacetime pursuits of mutual self-loathing and throwing bags full of turds at freaks.
It was a time of leisure and rebuilding in the North as carpetbaggers had destroyed the great civilization of the South. A civilization they misunderstood terribly.
Ha! The reason they're called red states is because of the bloodshed trying to get a bunch of hillbillies to act like decent human beings.
Okay. Residents wanted to relax after having won the war and celebrating with massive tailgate parties. So the new art of leisure began in Firefly Island, a quiet seaside district that featured hot dog eating competitions, condoms floating in the surf, and roller coasters that derailed and maimed people. Plus, freak shows where you could point and laugh and make dwarves and hairy women cry.
Oh, that one's my favorite.
With the war over, residents of Liberty City returned to amusing themselves by binge drinking, swimming with their clothes on, and watching magic shows where people would search for a tiny man hidden in a woman's nether regions.
Liberty City has always been full of massive cunts after all.
For once, I agree.
And the city began work on a new project for its leisure class, a place of orgies and depravity, drug addiction and perversity, anxiety and sweat. The Liberty City subway.
Nothing unified residents of a city more than being squashed into one another on a subway train as they rushed from one important appointment at the hat maker's to another at the witch burning.
It's disgusting. People mixing together like some great cosmopolitan clusterfuck. Preserve differences. My leg is going numb just thinking about it.
Liberty City went crazy for underground trains. The first station opened in 1874 and was inaugurated by throwing buckets of urine on the platforms. People loved it, although there was nowhere to go, as the first train did not get built for another 5 years, so they had to wait in the station for a very long time.
So with this and the broker bridge, people were free to live in the suburbs and realize the joys of commuting. Apathy, alienation, shitty radio morning shows, and car key parties.
And they were allowed to live amongst their own kind in the suburbs and feel safe. Even then, bridge and tunnel was a dirty word, just like flange. Ooh! Has anybody seen my medication for my angina? I mean you, boy. What's your name?
Excuse me?
Oh, be quiet. I didn't mean nothing by it. Come on, get over yourself. Hey, I can laugh at myself. What's wrong with you people? Seriously, I have angina. I could die of a heart attack any second. Where's my medication? I'll bet you stole it just to get high.
Say what? Are you hillbilly?
With that, the island of Algonquin was free to grow into the capital of a massive metropolis, to expand beyond its borders. So what did they do? They built massive skyscrapers and looked down on the other boroughs, of course.
Is there a doctor in there? Boy, get me a doctor, please. Ah! Oh.
Ignorant cracker.
Just like today, it was a city of birth and death, of decay and renewal, of double-headers and double-enders. Finally, Liberty City was beginning to take its modern form. Overcrowded, smelly, but impressive and grandiose, full of rich, unhappy people and poor, greedy people, all living cheek by jowl, like swine in a pen. But the city wasn't out of the woods yet. Soon, something would be invented that would change cities forever. Which we'll leave for next time on A History of Liberty.